Good evening. Welcome, dear Vice President of the European Parliament, dear Federal Minister, dear Secretary General of the Ministry for Foreign Affairs of Austria, dear Executive Secretary of the CTBTO, dear Excellencies, distinguished guests, colleagues, dear friends. I would like to warmly welcome you to this year's Europe Day reception. Thank you all very much for coming. Each year on the 9th of May, the European Union celebrates peace, solidarity, diversity, and unity in Europe. This date marks the anniversary of the historic Schuman Declaration. He is here looking at us, as you can see, in which he set out the beautiful project, the beautiful dream of European Union. We are very proud to have made this dream a reality. This year, we focus on the vibrant European democracy. In 1 month, on the 9th of June, some 400 million EU citizens will go to elect a new European Parliament and renew the democratic mandate of our European institutions and our European leaders. We are very proud to welcome here today the first Vice President of the European Parliament, Mr. Othmar Karas, who will speak to you about the importance of these elections and what is at stake. I'm also very honored to welcome the Austrian Federal Minister for Climate Action, Environment, Energy, Mobility, Innovation and Technology, Leonore Gewessler, who will also say a few words. Thank you very much for coming, Minister. But first allow me, and this was part of the idea with this reception, to welcome the full presence and to introduce to you the full presence of the European Union here in Vienna, which is, we think, quite impressive. Let me first of all introduce the permanent representative of the European Union to the OSCE, Ambassador Raza Ostrauskaite. Let me also introduce the head of the Liaison Office of the European Parliament in Austria, Mr. Frank Piplat. I'm also very happy to introduce, also for hosting us here, also the case for the European Parliament, the head of the representation of the European Commission in Austria, the acting head, Mr. Wolfgang Bogensberger. Please. We are not finished yet. We have the head of the Office of the European Investment Bank Group in Austria, Mr. Hubert Cotonyi. Please. We're also very proud and happy to have a representative of the European Union Agency for Fundamental Rights, Ms. Nicole Romain. Please. And finally, maybe the busiest part of all, the representative of the Energy Community Secretariat, Mr. Dirk Buschler. Who is very busy in Ukraine and doing a lot of very good work. So special thanks to you for coming. And as you can see, we are well represented here in Vienna, the European Union, at the service of our citizens and in support of a rules-based international order. I would also like to thank the Austrian government for so kindly and generously hosting us here in Vienna, in the beautiful city of Vienna, which is as you know, one of the 4 UN headquarters, and the only one of these 4 that is in the European Union. I would also like to particularly thank the embassy and permanent representations of the Kingdom of Belgium, in particular Ambassador Caroline Vermeulen, who's here, and Ambassador Didier Nagat de Dechaine, for hosting a musical intermezzo after the statements in honor of the Belgian presidency of the Council of the European Union. This is an important institution for us in the EU. So, indeed. Let me also warmly welcome and honor our member states, our Team Europe, whose engagement and unity gives us our strength and our wisdom. Thank you very much for being here. This year, as you know, we marked the 20 years since the big EU enlargement in 2004, when 10 new member states joined the European Union. This enlargement consolidated freedom, stability, peace, and prosperity on our continent, and a special greeting to those member states who joined us so successfully when that happened 20 years ago. Thank you. And finally, a warm greeting also to our candidate countries. As you know, we have a renewed focus on our enlargement process. Our candidate countries in the Western Balkans, of course, and as well as our new candidate countries from the Republic of Moldova, Georgia, and Ukraine, all present here. And of course, a special welcome and greeting to our friends and colleagues from Ukraine. We extend our full and unwavering support. Thank you very much for being here. Finally, allow me also to greet all ambassadors here present. Thank you very much for coming, and all representatives of the United Nations, the OSCE, and other international organizations based in Vienna. And thank all of you for excellent cooperation, close partnership, and friendship. Thank you very much. The European Union is in itself evidence that conflicts and challenges can be overcome if we stand and work together in support of international law, multilateralism, human rights, and justice. Thank you again very much for coming and celebrating this Europe Day together with us. I have the honor now, the great honor really, and thank you very much, First Vice President, for coming to introduce and to give the floor to the First Vice President of the European Parliament, Mr. Othmar Karas, who will deliver the Europe Day statement on behalf of all of us here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Honorable Excellencies, dear Minister Leonore Gelwessler, dear representatives of the European institutions in Vienna, welcome in the House of the European Union, and also a warm welcome to a colleague from the European Parliament, the head of the SPÖ delegation in the European Parliament, Andreas Schieder. Distinguished guests, I am delighted to see so many familiar faces celebrating Europe Day with us on this evening. Vienna is a special place for diplomacy. And I am glad that the European Union is so well represented here. We saw the number of representatives of European institutions on the beginning. This year's Europe Day is a special one. Not only because we are experiencing the most challenging times in the history of the European Union, but above all because the elections to the European Parliament take place in exactly 1 month's time. I am currently traveling throughout Austria to campaign for this election, to campaign not for a political party, to campaign for the European liberal democracy, to campaign for the European Parliament as the chamber of European citizens, of 450 million citizens who are living in the European Union. And I am traveling and campaigning for the work of the members of the European Parliament. The narrative that the European elections mean nothing is incredibly dangerous. The elections to the European Parliament are about a lot of competition, economy, jobs, environmental issue, migration, inflation, and so on. The latest Eurobarometer figures show that 70% of EU citizens believe that the European Union has an impact on their daily lives. This is a higher figure than at the beginning of the parliamentary term. This means that citizens know and understand that the decisions taken in Brussels and Strasbourg matter. Of course, this does not mean that citizens agree with everything. I know it. Neither do I. They are free to agree or disagree with the decisions, or even just some of them. But recognizing the impact of the EU on their lives is probably what motivates them most to go to the elections. And that is our primary goal as the European Parliament. Go and vote. That is our clear message in all member states and from all institutions of the European Union. I know I don't have to motivate you to go and vote. I think you are motivated enough. That is one reason why you are here, to celebrate Europe Day. But I would like to use this Europe Day to motivate everyone to advocate even more strongly for our idea, our European project. Because let me be clear, the European Union, the cooperation in the European Union, party cross-border and member states cross-border, is without alternative. This project has no alternative. Every challenge we face can be tackled better together than alone. Thank you very much. Enjoy this evening.
Thank you very much, Vice President. I now have the great honor to welcome the Federal Minister for Climate Action, Environment, Energy, Mobility, Innovation and Technology, Ms. Leonore Gewessler. You must be very busy, so thank you very much for coming. Thank you.
Thanks a lot for this friendly introduction. Dear Vice President Karas, dear Ottmar, dear ladies and gentlemen, Excellencies, it's an absolute honor to address you on this Europe Day. It's the first time I can do this in this format. And when I was thinking about this morning, the thing I remembered most was the feeling in 1994. I was 16 back then. I was not in Austria. When in June 1994, Austria voted yes to join the European Union. This feeling of a world opening for this country. That's the first thing I remembered when I thought about this address this morning. And I think what we can see, and I think Ottmar Karas and Andreas Schieder and many of us here in the room would agree, the almost 30 years have changed Austria for the better. Whether it's about the 4 fundamental freedoms that not only stimulate our economy or build an internal market, but who gave the first sign of life to what Schuman called the de facto solidarity that is at the basis of this union. Whether it's the thousands of students who have been on Erasmus, whether it's, for me, of course, and keeping me busy, the Green Deal, who set course on Europe becoming the first climate-neutral continent, whether it's the many different things that citizens might relate to the European Union and how it impacts their life. I can tell you one, single charger, very good idea. Took a long time, very good idea. That's a very precise impact that people feel in their daily lives on the from the European Union. So whatever you connect with that, whatever is it that makes Europe special for you, I think it's quite clear that life is better with the Union than without it. And we cannot say, and Ottmar Karas said it in his speech just a minute ago, we live challenging times. And the Union has lived a lot of challenging times. I mean, it was founded on the shadows of this continent out of World War II. It managed and grew more resilient when we had the fall of the Iron Curtain and happily welcomed countries to our union that made it stronger and bigger and more resilient and almost complete. And I say almost complete with a view to all the countries that are now working to join this union. But we cannot ignore we are in very special times. This is yet another Zeitenwende. And I know this term has been used a lot, but it truly is. And I'm not sure we have found the full answer yet. But I know in this room there's a lot of people who are working on doing exactly that. We see that geopolitical tensions rise, economic competition becomes more fierce, not within the continent, yes, also there, but also with the outside world, as one big challenge that we face. We see after years of democracy growing and our liberal democracy becoming more resilient and stronger, we see attacks on liberal democracy worldwide and also from within the Union, from neighboring countries. And we cannot ignore that our planet, the basis of our livelihood, the basis of our economy, is in big stress and needs our attention. And as we commemorate on this Europe Day and reflect on all these challenges that we are facing now, and while we are all looking for the good answers on this, I think I really want to underline what Ottmar Karas said. Let us not forget that this union is stronger together, that it's us in here that unite against the forces that only work on division and intolerance. So let us together also work on a politics that reaffirms our unwavering commitment to the values that the European Union is founded upon: rule of law, democracy, freedom, equality, human rights, and yes, also cooperation and solidarity. And let us remember that we are weaker when we are divided by our differences and stronger when we stand united in diversity. And this is why on Europe Day, normally there's requests towards the European Union, and I will not formulate requests towards the European Union for a good reason, because the European Union is us here in this room. So I will formulate my big wishes for people like us who shape the European Union. And I know I'm preaching to the converted here, but please bear with me. I think if I want something in this election year, my good wishes for this election year, I would like the recognition that European politics matter as much as interior politics do, and it needs the same time and recognition and conviction and energy and willingness to shape this continent together. That Brussels is not something else and not the representation here, but Brussels is us, that it's us doing the decisions back there, and that back there, up there, depending from the position, and that all of this needs politicians that work not only for the lowest common denominator, but that work together for the greatest common good of this continent. And this is my wish for Europe Day, because yes, we are in a decisive year. Elections matter, European elections matter. And so I hope that with all of your work and all of your conviction towards this European project and all your communication also on what the European Union means to this continent and to Austria and to all of your organizations. We will also manage an election year where you will go through Austria and you will see posters saying what you are doing is about, I don't know, I read eco-communism, if I just take my word. So, but you can choose yours. I think it's on all of us to counter the myth, to counter the lies, and to work on all that is the foundation of this union, because coming back to also what Ottmar Karas said in his, unfortunately, last speech as a vice president in the European Parliament, we are stronger when we're united in diversity. Thanks a lot, and have a happy, happy Europe Day.
Thank you very much, Minister, and thank you again very, very much for coming. We're very greatly honored. With thanks now to the Belgian presidency of the Council of the European Union, we'll have a short musical intermezzo, but we will start, of course, with the anthem of the European Union, Beethoven's Ode to Joy. And let me just point out that it was only yesterday, 200 years on the day since the first ever performance of the Ninth Symphony of Ludwig van Beethoven here in Vienna. So this is a special performance of this of our anthem. Please.
Thank you very much. I would like to present at the piano first, Clemens Schaller. And on the violin, before I say his name and who he is, I have to say also the Ode to Joy you heard tonight was specially created for the EU delegation during Corona. On the 9th of May, we performed with 9 artists for 9 minutes the 9th Symphony of Beethoven, which was specially created for Floris Willems, who is part of Floris and the Flames, and I'll let you guess why they are called the Flames. Thank you very much.